Burkina Faso is rising, not through words, but through action. In the heart of the Sahel, where the land often yields reluctantly and water has always been precious, a revolution is unfolding, not with rifles, but with rice fields. Today, in the community of Duru, the soil drinks the promise of tomorrow, irrigated not only with water, but with hope, dignity, and a sovereign will to feed itself. The ceremony marking the launch of the Douro irrigated perimeter stands as a declaration to the world. Burkina Faso is no longer waiting for salvation. It is cultivating it. This is not just a story about infrastructure. It's a story about resistance. Resistance against hunger. Resistance against dependency. Resistance against the idea that Africa must always ask before it acts. For too long, the fertile lands of the continent have been robbed of their yield, while their people are told to be patient. But patience has turned into perseverance, and perseverance has turned into power. The power to control your water, your land, your destiny. And this is what we witnessed at Douro, a project spanning 865 hectares, irrigated by the mighty waters of the Kirsi Dam, bringing to life 720 hectares of usable, productive farmland. His Excellency, the Prime Minister, stood there not as a bureaucrat, but as a son of the soil, a leader who walked the rows of rice paddies and granaries with a knowing heart. Together with the Ministry of Agriculture and the countless invisible hands of technicians, farmers, engineers, and laborers, they made this vision a reality in just 18 months. What was once dry earth now whispers the sound of running water. What was once a distant dream is now a concrete project that has cost 17.5 billion CFA francs, but more importantly, has paid in dignity, resilience, and national pride. The scale of what has been built is immense. 16 grain storage warehouses, each with the ability to hold 20 tons. 6 more dedicated to storing inputs and seeds. Infrastructure that stands like a fortress against future food insecurity. These are not just buildings. They are silos of sovereignty, bunkers of Burkina's war against hunger. Each one says, "Never again will we let our people go hungry while our soil lies idle." And now, the water has come. The gates of the dam have been opened, and the perimeter of Douro is alive. Alive with expectation, alive with the potential to produce over 17,000 tons of marketable crops every year, alive with the energy of farmers who, for the first time in generations, don't have to pray for rain to work their land. This is a monumental shift, not just in agriculture, but in spirit. It changes everything. But it doesn't end there. The government has not simply built the infrastructure and walked away. It has built a system. A cooperative has been established to ensure that land use is coordinated and productive. Alongside it, a water users association is being formed, tasked with regulating and preserving the precious resource that fuels the fields. This is more than governance. It is stewardship. It is the kind of foresight that ensures this investment will not be washed away by time or mismanagement. Because this water, these crops, this land, they belong to the people, and the people must be trained, equipped, and empowered to protect it. Training programs are already underway. Equipment is being distributed to facilitate regular maintenance. Preventive action is being institutionalized so that this perimeter does not become another abandoned relic of short-term ambition. It is a living ecosystem, and like any ecosystem, it requires balance, care, and constant renewal. The objective is clear: sustainability, not just for a season, but for a century. As the music played and the floodgates opened, a deeper music played in the hearts of those who witnessed it. The music of sovereignty, the melody of a people reclaiming their right to eat from the land they till. The rhythm of a nation no longer waiting for foreign aid trucks, but instead filling its own granaries. This is what it means to decolonize agriculture. This is what it means to water independence. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, president of Faso, understands this deeply. His leadership has not been shaped in conference rooms, but in battlefields of truth and fields of labor. Under his guidance, the agro-pastoral and fisheries offensive is more than a program. It is a doctrine. It is a strategic vision to break Burkina Faso's chains of dependency and build a nation that feeds itself with pride. It is no longer acceptable that a country with such agricultural potential imports rice, waits for food aid, or suffers from shortages. That cycle is being broken, not tomorrow, but today. In Douro, and before it in Bazan and Sandu, the soil is being awakened. And every drop of water that runs through the irrigation channels is a reminder that Burkina Faso is choosing life over lack. The scope of this movement is not just local, it is national, it is continental, it is pan-African. Because when one country proves that it can reclaim its agricultural destiny, others take notice, others follow. This is the domino effect of dignity. And today, Douro is the falling domino that topples the lie that Africa must starve while it feeds the world. The production that will come from this site is not just meant to fill bellies, it is meant to fill markets, to spark local economies, to feed school children, to create export potential, to elevate farmers from subsistence to surplus. And all of this is happening because a government decided to trust its people, its engineers, its soil. Because a government finally said, let the water flow, let the land grow, let the people rise. To every farmer who will walk the fields of Douro this season, know this. You are not alone. You are part of a national renaissance. Your labor is part of a larger story, a story of justice, of revival, of African power rediscovered. Your hands, calloused and worn, are shaping history. Every seed you plant is a seed of resistance. Every harvest you reap is a harvest of freedom. And to the young people of Burkina Faso, the message is clear. This is your future. This is what your land can do when it is trusted. Do not look elsewhere for opportunity. It is here, under your feet, in your rivers, in your rain, in your determination. The dignity of working your own soil, feeding your own people, building your own economy. This is the new pride of Faso. To our partners in the region, to the nations of the Sahel, to every African country watching this transformation unfold, this is the path. Not dependency, not charity, not conditional loans, but sweat, sovereignty, and sustainable systems. We have the land. We have the labor. We have the leadership. The only thing we need is the will. And Burkina Faso has shown that the will is there. This project, this perimeter, this irrigation system, it was launched in December 2023. And here we are, barely 18 months later, with results that speak louder than any speech. The work is finished. The systems are operational. The water is flowing. The farmers are ready. The time is now. And for that, we must salute every single actor who made this possible. The ministers, the engineers, the planners, the donors, the laborers, and most importantly, the farmers. But we are not blind to the challenges that remain. This is only the beginning. The hardest work still lies ahead. It is not enough to build. We must maintain. It is not enough to plant. We must harvest. It is not enough to celebrate. We must institutionalize. Preservation of this investment is a shared responsibility. Everyone, from the state to the farmer, must guard it like a national treasure, because that's what it is. 17.5 billion CFA francs were invested here, not to impress, but to empower, not to showcase, but to sustain. This is not charity. This is strategy. And it demands results. It demands seriousness. It demands that this investment yield returns, not just in crops, but in changed lives, nourished children, educated farmers, and prosperous communities. We must not let this opportunity slip through our fingers. The rains will come and go. The seasons will change. But what we do with this infrastructure today will determine whether it becomes the foundation of a new Burkina Faso or just another forgotten project. Let it be the former. Let it be the symbol of a turning point, a place we can look back on and say, here, the tide turned. Here, Burkina Faso decided to feed itself. This is a victory, but it is only one battle in the larger war for sovereignty. Let us carry the lessons of Dourou across every region. Let every province demand its own irrigation. Let every community rise with the confidence that the land will provide if we believe, if we invest, if we commit. The future is not written in the stars. It is written in the soil. And today, in the heart of Dourou, that soil has begun to write a new chapter, a chapter of abundance, a chapter of justice, a chapter of African power. Thank you to the people of Dourou. Thank you to the farmers who will breathe life into these hectares. Thank you to Captain Ibrahim Traoré for daring to believe that a hungry nation can become a nourished one. Thank you to the young people who will inherit this project and carry it forward. And thank you to every Burkinabe who still believes in the power of our land. Let the water flow. Let the land rise. Let the people eat. Let Africa win.